Hey, good morning on a rainy Sunday morning. Perfect morning for doing silly pixel tanks. I'm Guido. This is Coffee Talk. Grab your coffee. Today's is a medium roast of some kind, but don't get too excited if you're new to the channel. I've got some new people who came on. It's not like I'm French pressing or anything. These are Keurig K-cups, okay? I like coffee, but I just want to put the K-cup, drop the lid on it, and press start. You know what I mean? That was good. Okay, channel news, standard act. We're going to do channel news, scavenger hunt update, a wheeled marathon update, where I am. The winner of the M41D, we'll announce that again. I've already done that, but we'll shout that out to everybody else. We'll go over the missions and specials as usual. Subjects du jour, Frontlines coming back. We've got a Swedish heavy tank rebalance and some really interesting notes on the patch notes for 1.4.1 that we'll go over. So grab your coffee, sit back and relax, you know, whether it's Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon. Usually it's Sunday midday by the time I get this out. I'm having a really nice early morning coffee. You're all sitting around waiting for me to finish. All right, let's get started. All right, channel news. What have I been doing? Well, I've been playing a lot of the wheeled vehicles. I finally unlocked the Tier 10. I've been playing that one. Recently released a review of the Lynx 6x6. Expect a review of the EBR90, which is the Tier 9, and a review of the Tier 10. I think I'm actually going to play the Tier 10 enough to get a review kicked out, which is something I don't usually do, the top of the tech tree review kind of stuff. That is what I've been doing. Not as much streaming as I would have liked this week, so we'll see if we can get a... I know I promised this for a year now, try to get a schedule, but it's just difficult for me to do, so wow. Wow for me. So that's what's going on there. Wheeled marathon update. We'll get to that in just a minute, but I want to do the scavenger hunt update first. I should actually go by my script here. That would be a really good idea. So we're just going to call up this guy right here, and we're going to read this. And okay, so this is a little bit complicated. It is and it isn't. You're going to think it is when you try to read it. It really isn't if you think about it. And it's just the way they have to mech it to make the missions work to get the free stuff for the scavenger hunt. Okay, so at the top, however many codes you collected, that's how many of these missions you can do. All right, so what happens is on February 8th, and it goes to the 11th, so it's only 3 days, you're really going to have to get through this. What is the 8th? Hold on, let's find out. I bet it's a Friday. That's true, it is a Friday. So this is a weekend event. You have the 8th, the 9th, and the 10th. Remember, the 11th is always the cutoff day, and it's early in the morning. So really, you have Friday, Saturday, Sunday to do this. So 3 days to knock out 27 battles. You have to be in the top 10 experience, all right? So it says, place in top 10 experience on your team, and you immediately get these 3 things. Credit boosters, XP, and crew boosters times 3. Okay, so you're going to get those 9 boosters. Nothing else done other than getting top 10. When you get in the top 10, you are going to get a folder icon. See the little icon? Because Wargaming loves these icon things. Remember, it's been called a stamp and a folder and a couple other things. But anyway, it's a folder icon. So, never mind. Token. See? I can't even keep it straight. But it says right there. That's my other screen. Folder token. Now, okay. Mission number 2 unlocks it 5 folder tokens. What this means is you do the main mission of top 10 5 times. You've also have at least 5 codes redeemed. Then you're going to get this next mission that's going to give you 3 repair kits, 3 small first aid, and 3 manual fire extinguishers. Here's what I don't know. What I don't know is, say you do it 5 times, you get your 5 folder tokens. Mission 2 is now unlocked. If you complete Mission 2, which is top 10 XP, do you also complete the 6th Mission 1? I don't know. I'm going to ask that question. Because that would add at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times you have to play on top of the total possible of 28. Because you can actually have 28 folder icons. In fact, some people I think might have 30 because they gave 2 free ones. These are all intelligences that are unknown to me right now. But see, I told you I was going to explain it all, but of course I don't have the whole picture, do I? So mission 3 unlocks at 11 folder tokens. Same drill. You do 11 of these mission 1s, however that actually happens, relating to what I just talked about. Then you'll get these kits. If you've got 18, basically if you've got 18 codes during the event, you stand to get a garage slot. If you got 27, now here's the tricky one. At 27 and 28, you're going to get 10,000 and 30,000 experience points for the tank you're driving. So you're going to have to watch this. My understanding is that these folders will show up in your missions, in your UI. So be very careful as you're going through this and watch it. And make sure that the tank you want the 10,000 on is the one you play, right? Because if you play some other tank and you're not paying attention, you're just going, all of a sudden you trip mission 5 and you play some tank you don't want the 10,000 on, you're going to be a little irritated. And unfortunately, you're going to have to pay attention on this. All right, that should explain it clear as mud right there with the couple caveats of the things I'm not exactly sure about. Okay, so that's a scavenger hunt update. The winner of the M41 Delta is Deputy Commander 250814. Domo should have already credited you that M41 Delta. I do have a note into him in game to see if he'll answer and make sure he's got that prize, but that was the winner. By the way, thanks for all the great suggestions. I did do a video on your go-to suggestions, talking about all of the different streamers and YouTubers and websites in there. A couple updates from people in the comments. As always, I don't always get everything right, and there's some more amplifying information. And the funniest thing is, some people are like, "Oh yeah, this guy's good too." I'm like, "I just asked you that." But that's all cool. Why do you not listen to me? Seriously, come on. Okay, wheeled mission update. Let's see where I am on the wheeled mission. I am currently on stage 7, and I am not finishing this. It is simply not happening. But I've got 22 of the 80. Look at this. I haven't even done once 4,000 damage. Now, I've been playing primarily the EBR 105 and the EBR 90. I've had some 3,000 damage games. I've also been playing the, what is this thing over here? I've also been playing a little bit of the M4 MLE 51 and not managed 4,000. And some of the 121, which I have a 49% win rate in, fairly low number of games. This one's tough. I'm having a hard time with the 121. The M4 51 is pretty comfortable, pretty good tank. And I still haven't managed to drop 4,000 in 14 games. We'll see. I don't think that, let's go back, was it 14 games? No, 22 games. I don't think I'm actually going to do that 14 before I get to 80. That's unfortunate. I'd probably have to be playing more mediums and heavy tanks to make that happen. Now, there is somebody, Tiger AJK. I'm not exactly sure how he spells the name. I tried to look him up, but he was sending me notes. He does watch the channel a bit. He finished it in under 300. Now, he's a very, very good player, and he basically did most of them via the left side here. I think he did a couple of them on the right side, some of the early ones maybe. But most, if not all, on the left side. And under 300, I want to say it was 263, so it may have been fairly significantly under 300. So it can be done by a very good player in much less than the estimated 500 to 700 that most people said. Remember, I came down at about 600 for the average player to get this thing done. Let me know how you're doing down below on the marathon for the wheeled tank. I know that a few people have already won theirs, so let me know how you all are doing down there. Let's move on to the missions. All right, I had to shrink for this one just so you could see it. I wouldn't want anybody to miss all the awesomeness. Okay, or something. Let's go back over to featured. So we have a event going on with a lot of tier 6 tanks, and you can see that the war chest is here for all the different tier 6 tanks that they're selling in March, all the way to April 1st, I believe. Yeah, 28 days. So you can see them. The Centurion, obviously not a tier 6, but the tier 6 is the 131, the Heavy Tank 6, Fury, T40, Pudel, Cromwell, Type 64, that KV2R Warhammer guy, and the T44, which is clearly not a tier 6. This is interesting. They messed up a little bit here. This is the war chest. This happens to be just the $33 version, and then down here the war chest got put on the bottom, and that actually carries over to a couple of their other pages there, so somebody goofed up putting that in there. There is a KV2 war chest if that's what you want. It happens to be all the way down on the bottom. Nothing much going on here. The standard discounts right there. No real premium account discounts. I think that 30-day one went away. No, it's still there. It's only 5% off. Go back over to vehicles. What else we got? Really, pretty much the same thing we just looked at. There's that goof up right there. Again, the $33 version's there, and the war chest is over on his right. But all the rest of them are all lined up nicely. Nothing much to add in here. The Centurion's pretty good. It's a Centurion 5.1, by the way, not just a Centurion. I don't know why they wouldn't put the 5.1 up on the card right there, because the Centurion, there's a lot of different Centurions out there. Nothing else really to add in here. There's a T-44 Ultimate with 30 days thrown in there, and then the regular tanks down below. And frankly, there's just not a whole lot of special stuff going on. There's a lot of those tier 6s, so some of those are decent deals, down to 7% for the standard thing. But I don't know, I'll be quite honest, that much for a tier 6, it's kind of hard to palate. There's other items added to it, so can you get just the tank itself? I think you can if you drive down long enough here. There you go. So it's 19 bucks, for example, for the Fury. 19 bucks, 20 bucks, I guess, rounded up for the rest of the tier 6s. That's pretty much it for the specials. Let's move on to the missions. Same thing on the missions. It's pretty much all quiet on the Western Front right here. We've got the tournament missions going on. Those are standard. We have the player tank class right. Those are standard at this point. Nothing else to add in there. Tank mastery. Are we down to only one card of tank mastery? Oh man, that did hold. So I noted that last week or the week before. Good on them. We didn't really need two different things of tank mastery. I don't think anyway. Supply raid, that's the standard act for the weekend where they don't have a whole lot going on. Look at this. Okay, so those are all good, man. I mean, those are all goodies right there. Speaking of goodies, wait till we get to subjects du jour, because there's something really interesting going to happen with that. On track to the 13,105, and then the Spearhead thing. Actually, my update on the Spearhead deal is I'm at 234 of 500. And it ends on March 18th, which is about 15 days. I am leaving on the 16th. I might make it. Maybe. Not quite halfway there. When did it start? February 19th, and we've already, well, maybe not. I may not make it. Would be cool to have the book, though. Remember, that's where you do that, and after 500, they'll send you an email, and you can get a book for free. My understanding is that you're paying for, I think I mentioned it earlier that I thought so, but I'm pretty sure you're paying for the shipping. So they're going to get you one way or the other, aren't they? All right, let's go. Okay, I wanted to show you guys a couple things here on the main page, kind of going back to the idea of learning about the different places you can find out information. And this is not something I had mentioned. This is obviously the official page right here. But there's a thing called Tankopedia, which is actually pretty good to go get information. Let me get it here. There we go. Tankopedia happens to be up there on that little scroll across guy right there. That's pretty good information on tanks. So you select a tier. Hey, I want to go to tier 8. And here's all the tier 8 tanks. The cool thing is, look at all of the premiums that are listed that you might not have. In general, you can go in the UI and go to the tech tree, and you can find most of the information that you want. But if you don't own the tank, or it's been removed or something, most of them should be over here, which is pretty cool. So here's all the different tanks. Is there 2 super Pershings? That's kind of weird. Why are there 2 super Pershings? I have no idea. Frontline. There you go. So all the different esoteric, different kinds of tanks. If it has some weird little letter next to it you don't understand, you can probably find it on the Tankopedia. It's got all the information right there that you might want. In addition to that, the self-serving part is, if you get back to there, you can go to the collections, and it's all the different CC's favorite tanks. Mine happens to be in here as well. If you click on here, somewhere it says Guido's go-to rides. There it is. You click on that, and there's, I think, 12 tanks that I like a lot. Just for giggles, you can check that out if you want. Okay, March Frontline is coming back on the 11th and going to the 18th. From the 11th to the 18th of March. Remember, the scavenger hunt missions are from the 8th to the 11th, so you're going to knock those out, and then you're going to jump right into the Frontline grind. We will cover that a little bit as we get closer, probably next week, I guess, because I will be pretty much out of pocket for the end part. Leaving about the 16th and won't be back till the 20-something. So I'll be doing Frontline early on, so I'll probably cover that right before it starts. Right before it starts. Now let's get into the news. Some pretty cool things. All right. Daily Bounce, this is Harkonnen's blog right here. One of the articles is about the Swedish heavy tank upgrade or rebalance. So what's happening is basically they're going to remove a shell, they're going to increase the alpha of each shell, and they're going to decrease the reload time. So you won't have as much clip potential in one go, but it won't be a whole lot less. But the DPM is going to increase substantially, up to 20%, depending on the tank. So this is going to be the Emil, the Emil 2, and the Kron. All right, which means you're going to be able to fire more often with slightly less burst capability, but a larger DPM capability. I don't know. It's interesting. This seems to be the way of most of the autoloaders. There's some statement in here from Wargaming about how it played like all the other autoloaders, and I'm thinking, well, yeah, because they're all autoloaders, and that was the balancing mechanic you put on it. But much like the 5100 and the Lorraine, you're out of the fight for a long time. So I personally, my view on this is more of the speed up the game mentality, more of the FPS kind of idea in the game. They want to make these tanks fight more, be a little bit more active. There you go. Somebody made a great point. This is not my point. I got it off of Reddit. They said, you know, the thing about this is that's all well and good, but now if you miss a shot, you're really in trouble, because the Swedish guns aren't known for being that accurate anyway. So it's a good point. You always had to be very careful with the 4 shots you had. You almost never got all 4 off anyway, unless it was end game or somebody that was a near dead or something like that, and you were killing multiple guys. So that's just kind of an interesting thing that's going on there. Now here's what I think is the more interesting, since I'm just going to use interesting all day. All right, so here's some cool stuff about this. First, they're going to add some functionality for paints for the Tier 7 vehicles. That's cool. More slots for decals on Tier 8, and some UI improvements. All right, that's all little stuff. Kind of expected that. There's going to be some fixed issues on maps. That's a pretty long list, and I wonder what the issues are. Are they just technical hitbox stuff, or are we actually going to remove or revamp some of these things? Don't know. But here's where it gets really interesting. Blueprints. All right, so because we don't have enough kinds of currency in this game, what do we have? We got gold, bonds, silver, and it's not really a currency, but we get experience, credits. I said silver. So we've got a lot of different things going on. Now we're going to have blueprints. But it's kind of a cool idea. So let's see what's going on here. It says basically what happens is you're going to get, where is it? They explain the blueprints, and then they don't talk about what's happening. There we go. A new type of rewards, random rewards. They may contain various game items as well as blueprint fragments. So from what I understand here is these rewards, random rewards that you'll get for battles, may also have these fragments of a blueprint. And the idea is you put the fragments together and you can do various things with it. Once all blueprint fragments are collected, no experience is required for researching a corresponding vehicle. Well, that's interesting. So you can basically put enough fragments together that you do not have to experience up to research a vehicle. Wow. That's interesting. Each blueprint consists of fragments. Their number depends on the vehicle tier, so I can imagine obviously a tier 10 is going to have many fragments. Each fragment increases the discount on researching a particular vehicle. So you don't need the whole thing. Whatever percentage of the fragments you have, that will be some kind of discount for researching it. Experience, I'm assuming, which is what it seems like. If a player receives a blueprint fragment for a vehicle that has already been researched, or the player has all blueprint fragments collected, such blueprint fragments will be automatically converted to one of the following blueprint types: universal or national. Wow. So is anyone going to get blueprints if they've, say for me, I've unlocked every tank? Am I going to get a collection of blueprints? Probably not, but that would be interesting. A player can get a blueprint fragment they need by converting a certain number of national or universal blueprint fragments. All right, so what does this mechanic sound like? It sounds a lot like the Christmas thing, right? The Deco Rider and the fragments from the ornaments and all that stuff. I think it's probably built on the back of that same infrastructure, that same game mechanic. That's going to be very similar, I believe. The number of blueprint fragments that are required for researching a vehicle depends on its tier. So more to come on that, obviously, but I think it's a kind of an interesting idea. But this random rewards is also tied in, and that appears to be where you get the fragments from. So what it says is you have a certain probability in each battle, okay? Whatever, unknown, doesn't say. If a player does not receive a random reward after battle, the probability of receiving it after the next battle increases, okay? When you receive a random reward, the probability is reset and the process repeats. Fair enough. These rewards can be earned only in random battles. Only random. There will be two types of random rewards, small and large. The first 4 rewards you earn will be small, the 5th will be large. All right, so you have a random chance of getting it, a small to begin with. If you don't get it, the chance increases until eventually you get it. What it doesn't say is, I'm assuming that same process happens for the second small reward, probably, and then the third, and then the fourth, and then the 5th one. That will be a large one, and then it resets. Obviously, the small ones have smaller things, the large ones have larger things. Who knows what's going to be in there? I actually suggested something like that. I'm sure they got it from me. Pretty positive. The idea that you should get other cool stuff while you're playing, right? Other than experience, other than credits. Why not throw out some kits, repair kits, med kits, throw out some personal reserves, maybe some extra bonds here and there. It looks like that's kind of what they're doing here. It's loot boxes. That's not loot boxes. It's not loot boxes. So I thought you guys would like that. Crew skins, this is kind of cool. This is on the non-monetization or non-pay-to-win idea. This is monetization just for the capability to change things around. And I think that Wargame is a little late to this party because I think that party's kind of dying off a little bit maybe, but you can, and I'm assuming you're going to buy this, right? This is going to cost you gold or money or something. You can get a unique avatar, you get a unique first and last name, short informational note on the person. I don't know, are they going to be historical or are they going to be cartoon characters? Who knows? Unique voiceovers. It's applied to a crew member and changes their appearance. At the same time, all attributes, experience, etc. remain unchanged. The application of a crew skin, application of a crew skin free of charge. I don't think that necessarily means that the crew skin itself is free. I'd be surprised if they just gave us a bunch of crew skins and we could move stuff around and it didn't cost us anything. I suppose that's possible, but I'm not really holding my breath for that one. All right, that is it for Subjects du jour. Let's wrap this up. All right, that is it for this week. I'm just about out of coffee. We talked about channel news. We talked about the missions and specials and the subjects du jour. That is all I've got, and I'm going to head out, go ahead and wrap this up as far as editing goes. As far as the editing goes. Get it kicked out to you guys. Have a good week out there. Remember, tomorrow's miserable Monday, so watch out.